Zach, people are loving to rank players and always put them against each other. Something that I've noticed is that you seem to hate New York and New York basketball and New York Knicks and everyone who's played for the Knicks. Why do you hate Carmelo Anthony and Amari Stoudemire so much?
I'm glad that you brought that up because I do hate the Knicks. I hope they go 0-82 or 0 whatever next season. I grew up in Connecticut, surrounded by obnoxious Knicks fans during the '90s when they were good and good and horrible to watch. You know, it's true that I did not grow up rooting for the Knicks, but you know, Knicks fans are now convinced that I hate them and I hate Carmelo Anthony, and because I had the audacity to rank Carmelo Anthony the 20th best player in the NBA, which means Carmelo Anthony is awesome. I mean, being the 20th best player in the NBA means you are awesome. And the reason I ranked him below guys like Paul Pierce, which was controversial, Kevin Garnett, well, controversial in my little corner of the world, Kevin Garnett, Manu, is because I've watched Carmelo Anthony play defense a lot, and he is bad at it and doesn't try. He rebounds the ball well, but he's never been asked to... He has never made the transition that Paul Pierce did as he matured and become a well above average defender, despite having the footwork and the ability to do it. I mean, it's just not there, and he hurts his team on one end of the floor, and that's half the game.
I feel like I've been kind of alone, not necessarily alone, but I'm more of a Carmelo Anthony fan than I would say most bloggers and most people who, you know, respect the stats world and stuff like that, because while I appreciate the concept of efficiency, and it matters because, trust me, I'm not a Monte Ellis fan, with Carmelo, I think he generally gives his teams a direction offensively, and, you know, maybe this wasn't the biggest difference, but when you saw Denver in the playoffs, they didn't have that go-to guy, and I think having that focus to put, you know, the entire defense on stopping that guy, whether he's that efficient or not, I think that matters. And you know, you've got Carmelo behind Steve Nash. Neither of them play defense. Maybe Nash tries harder, but he's arguably just as bad. You know, what is that difference? I know it's only 2 spots, but what's that difference that puts Nash over Carmelo when Carmelo may be, you know, arguably more of a franchise guy?
I actually don't think he's more of a franchise guy than Nash. I think Nash is going to go down as, and I don't want to throw out numbers, you know, like top 10 or top 15. I think Nash is one of the absolute greatest offensive players to ever play, and I don't think you can say that about Carmelo yet. I mean, I agree with you that Carmelo, as a franchise cornerstone, as an unbelievable go-to clutch scorer, is going to help his team's offense wherever he goes, which is why I ranked him as the 20th best player in the league. I think he gives a lot of that back, or helps to give a lot of that back anyway, on the other end. But as far as why Nash over Melo, despite their defensive limitations, 2 reasons. Nash is smart and tries. And although teams have to build their defensive principles around sort of hiding him, or, you know, even sort of sparing his body a lot of wear and tear, which is what Mike D'Antoni did in Phoenix, he knows where to be, and he adheres to principles. And when I watch Carmelo Anthony play defense, I just see a lot of pointing. I see like a lot of, can we switch now? Can you get that guy? Can you get that guy? And just a lot of sort of ad hoc decision making based on his refusal to commit to defense that hurts his team. And I've said it before, he's the best pointer in the league. It's either he or Vince Carter. They're the two best and most enthusiastic pointers in the league. And so why, and honestly, you know, and this is a cliche sort of thing, but I also think defending point guards is extremely difficult, and even the greatest defenders at that position can't really make a sort of Dwight Howard-like impact every night. And if I had my druthers, I'd rather have my weakest defender there than almost anywhere else. Although on the wing, you could argue there are easy places to hide guys on the wing sometimes if you have a Thabo to hide against or something like that. But I think Nash is actually underrated as an offensive player. Hollinger has noted before he might be the greatest shooter of all time. And so it's close, and I think Melo, like you said, is a great offensive player. And if he commits to defense, I think he could easily be a borderline top 10 guy in the league.
with the direction that the Knicks are going, just real quick, they've got Amari, they've got Melo. Let's say by some miracle of David Stern's blessing, Chris Paul goes to this team. I don't really think that fixes them. I mean, Chris Paul is the best point guard in the league, but they don't necessarily need a great point guard as much as they need defenders around Amari and Carmelo. Does Chris Paul fix the Knicks and make them a contender?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you put Paul, Melo, Stoudemire on the same team, you fill in the wing with a couple competent guys who can, or you fill in a wing and a couple competent defensive players and guys who can hit an open shot. I think their offense would be so good if they all learned to play together. I mean, that's the other thing is, can Carmelo Anthony adjust his game to be with another star? Can he run a pick and roll? Can he pass consistently? Because, he is a good passer when he's passing the ball. But I think you put those three guys together. And a lot of defense, I mean, is just about following rules and having sort of cohesiveness as a team. And I think the Suns of the D'Antoni era showed if you have a really great offense and a decent and an average defense, and at their height the Suns were average defensively, you can win a title that way, or you can come within a couple of bad breaks of winning a title that way.
Hey, what's up, guys? We got a question from the audience here, from the name that I can never pronounce, and we're gonna just put it up right now. Zach L, please tell Zach H that Gortat has some potential. Peace out, smiley face. Please leave out peace outs and smiley faces from future questions, but it's a good one. Zach, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I know Zach Harper is cranky because he keeps losing the bacon game and all of this, but I mean, would he actually argue that
bacon right here in the sandwich?
I apologize. Are you arguing that Gortat has no potential? I mean, is this an argument that we're going to have?
I think he's a good backup center. I think maybe he's a lower tier starting center, but unless he's playing with a great point guard, I don't know that he gives you anything on the offensive end.
Okay. I mean, I think he could be a mid-tier starting center. I mean, I think he'd be a good real starting center in terms of his size and potential as a rebounder and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, 50 games in Phoenix with Steve Nash doesn't quite prove anything yet, but it wouldn't shock me if he settled in as a 14 and 8 okay defensive player, and as a 7-footer that's pretty good.
Beckley's muted. He has no idea.
And I am still learning how to use a microphone. But having someone that size who doesn't make mistakes and is real athletic, there's just not very many of them. And I think like as far as starting centers go, I would take him over. I can't see how he's not in the top 10.
That's fair.
And no
I think that's fair.
Which means I win.
He's easily not in the top 10, but okay.
All right, well, we'll make a list for the next one. Zach, thanks for agreeing with me, Zach Lowe, and for being smarter than Zach Harper. And all your
that didn't take much.
On going forward, and we'll catch you soon.
Cool. Enjoyed it, guys.